What is up? What is up? Steam blockchain. What is up? DTube. Today I want to talk a little bit about 3 projects that have sort of been on my mind lately, and it is basically, if we can talk about this, it's basically about Telos, Tron, and BEOS. So let's start off with Tron. So Tron is on, if you go check on Blocktivity, you can see it's I think it's in at least top 5. I think it's on the 4th position in terms of transactions daily, and it doesn't seem to be too flooded in terms of daily volume it would be able to handle. So what is up with Tron? Well, I've tested it out for a few days, and one thing I like to find, like, and I'm not a financial advisor, I like to find or look at projects that is doing something, even if they're just derping around or like exploring, testing stuff out, testing new features out. Even if it's kind of messy, I enjoy that they're innovating, because there's a lot of projects where nothing is happening, nothing at all. You go for weeks and there's no excitement, right? So, ouch. So what's interesting with Tron is they have this guy called Justin Sun, which is like, he bought BitTorrent last year, so he's kind of all over the place, but he's doing cool stuff. He's passionate, and he doesn't seem to want to uphold some status quo. It seems like he wants to innovate. He wants to try new things, even if it's messy. Even if it's messy, he wants to try new things. So yeah, he's dropping exciting stuff almost daily now on his Twitter, and it's always these sort of somewhat controversial people that sort of, I mean, they drop some interesting stuff, right? They drop some interesting stuff. So I have tested it out, their blockchain, some of their D apps, and right now it's mainly like gambling. But I checked out their wallet, and many of their interfaces are pretty good, and I enjoy these niches in terms of branding. Like Tron, it's kind of cool name. They have cool branding. I think it seems like they care about the brand, which I enjoy. Okay, so, but what I enjoy the most is, like, with these gambling DApps and stuff like that, I mean, I'm mainly in this space to just see if they can innovate. If it's just lazy gambling where they don't try to innovate on the model, it's kind of boring. But I've noticed that there are some DApps that are kind of gambling, but they're sort of trying to innovate, I notice. And for me, it's just interesting, like, if I find something that is slightly better than what we did in the past, which I see Tron, their DApps, at least when it comes to gambling, it seems to be a little bit better than EOS and Ethereum, which I think it has a lot to do with culture as well, that you need a specific chain has a specific culture. Ethereum with Vitalik, I've seen him talking videos, and he's not very much passionate about in-game items. He's not. He doesn't seem to be super fascinated about that, or like CryptoKitties and stuff like that. I find that super fascinating. Like, so, but I know then that if the leader is sort of not into that super much, which I didn't get the vibe of that he was. It sort of feels like Ethereum, like the culture is not gonna be around like creating cool DApps. And then we have EOS, and EOS tries to sort of be, it feels like they want to be something bigger, something larger, like they want to be about global governing systems, right? So it's not really a place that's going to attract great potential for potentially good gambling DApps. Okay, But Tron, it feels like Tron might be the place to just derp around, just have a fun time, because there's a lot in this industry which is dead serious, and when stuff gets dead serious, I sort of feel that innovation goes slow. I like when developers are experimenting around and trying new things out, even though it's not perfect. Even if projects fails, at least they're trying to do something. I think that eventually you can create a perfect gaming D-app which benefits owners of a token, that benefits players, that makes things exciting. We've seen this with CryptoKitties on Ethereum. I think that you just gotta find the right formula, and we're not really there yet. I sort of feel like the next 5 years is mainly gonna be a experimental phase where we're gonna see what works, what doesn't work, the failures. We're gonna have even more failures, but people also learn so much. People see what is 100% scam and what is kind of half, and people trying to find a great model which is win-win for everyone. And people gotta look at stuff themselves, but I think it's interesting to see how some developers on the Tron that's using Tron, they're really trying to do some cool stuff. Not all of them, but there are some cool projects. Also, there are also so many scams. So be careful out there. Have a look at stuff yourself. But I gotta say, it feels like there's more energy behind Tron than EOS and even Ethereum. And I enjoy Ethereum. I enjoy using Ethereum for sending transactions. Ethereum is like my main crypto. If I want to send something safe, I usually use Ethereum because I sort of have trust in that network for sending transactions. But for D-apps, doesn't really feel like the place. Yes, for some apps like CryptoKitties, but yeah, I think I'm gonna keep eyes open for more Tron. I'm gonna see how they develop, and as I said in the past, this space changes so fast. So one day you might like a crypto blockchain, another day you don't. But yeah, that was a little bit about Tron. I'm keeping my eyes on it right now because there's a lot of excitement, there's a lot of energy behind the movement, and when you have a lot of energy, a lot of flow, a lot of cool stuff can happen. Okay, so two other projects that I want to talk a little bit about is basically I want to talk a little bit about BEOS and Telos. So the cool thing with Telos is it's an EOS IO fork, which is basically they're sort of using the same. EOS is a chain which is using EOS IO code. So Telos basically did take a look at the EOS, and they sort of made some adjustments. Like, for example, they reduced the supply to only 300 million coins instead of 1 billion coins. And they're sort of trying to cap on one account that it can only have 40,000 Telos instead of like limitless supply, I think it is on the EOS. So it was very cool for me to see that, wait a sec, one of the top chains on Blocktivity called Telos, which is just many days on second below EOS in terms of the amount of transactions daily, it was like, I think it was like 97% cheaper in terms of coin price. But it's basically, I think it's a very interesting project because they're kind of running on the same code, right? It's kind of like EOS, but it's like EOS when it's super cheap. So that's why I'm gonna keep my eyes seeing what's gonna happen with Telos. But it's the same thing with Telos as it is with Tron. There's a lot of energy and excitement behind the movement. There's a lot of flow. they're sort of trying to innovate, and they're sort of showing like how much cheaper it is to launch a D app on Telos instead of EOS. Now that might change if the price rise, but and also how EOS developers will be able to port their apps to Telos. So the cool thing with this digital world is the ability to easily port stuff over if someone innovates more. And yeah, Telos is just interesting right now. It's just interesting because I think they need less RAM, and they did a bunch of other exciting tweaks, which I think is gonna basically play, I think, a big role. But yeah, Telos is interesting because it's running on the EOS IO code. So basically like an EOS chain. And I love the EOS chain because like, it's so cool, this irreversibility and the speed of transactions. It's just interesting. And then we have BEOS, which is basically going to be a cross chain that's going to connect BitShares tokens and EOS tokens. So it's going to be a chain that's going to connect these two large ecosystems. So you know, you connect all the tokens together and you can easily transfer between them. And this is a brand new blockchain right now, which is launching. They're basically going to airdrop 2.6 billion coins the next 89 days, I think it is. 2.6 billion airdrops of tokens, basically to people that is holding BitShares. You know, is kind of cool. Okay, so that is also an exciting project, and these three projects is like stuff that just like came up recently for me. So I mean, there's so much happening in this space all the time, which is kind of cool. So these are basically the three projects I'm looking at right now, and you know, it's just exciting. These are the three projects at the moment that seems to have the most energy behind it, and there seems to be top chains, and that they have massive potential for innovation. And the mainstream is sort of going to get caught up too much in just looking at Ethereum and Bitcoin. You really have to dive deeper into the blockchain space, be here for a long time before you find out like the cool stuff and the stuff that might have potential to truly change the world. But in the end, it's a win-win ecosystem, this whole global internet. If someone innovates and if it turns out to be a success, everyone wins basically in the long run. That's how I see it. But yeah, Tron, Telos, and BEOS, these are the three main projects that I'm looking at right now. That sort of makes me excited about the future of the crypto space and the blockchain space. So yeah, just wanted to do a quick video talking a little bit about that. Have an awesome day. YouTube and Steam blockchain. Bye.